You've already done some study on the triangle. We're going to just cover some important vocabulary words and a couple important facts about triangles that you may or may not have down. First of all, we're going to talk about the angles found on the inside of a triangle. So here's my triangle here. If I were to take this triangle and I were to take each of the angles that form the corners, so for instance, this little piece right here, the corner, and this little piece right here, that other corner, and then the third corner, if I were to take those and tape them all together, basically what I would get is I would get supplementary angles. Remember, supplementary means they add to 180 degrees. In fact, any triangle that I take and tear the corners off of, when I line up the corners, I'm going to get supplementary angles, or I'm going to get 180 degrees. We use that fact when we need to find a missing angle on a triangle. So for instance, if I have any triangle at all, it doesn't matter what the triangle looks like, if I know two of the angles, I should be able to find the third. So for instance, if I said this angle right here was 60 degrees, and I came over here and I said, you know what, this angle right here is 40 degrees. I could then find the missing angle up on the top. What I would do is I would say 60 plus 40 plus the missing angle has to add up to 180 degrees because we have this fact that the sum of interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Well, I already have used up 60 plus 40. So 60 plus 40 is 100. 100 plus the missing angle still needs to give me 180. So the missing angle needs to be how much? We can get that by doing a little subtraction in your head or on your paper. We find out the missing angle needs to be 80 degrees so that the inside of my triangle adds up to 180 degrees. That's the first fact about triangles we want to make sure that everybody has down. The second part is more about vocabulary. We can classify triangles in two different ways. The first way that we can classify triangles is by the lengths of their sides. So when we're looking at a triangle, if all of the sides are different lengths, we would call the triangle a scalene triangle. All of the sides are different lengths. Every single. Can't have two that are the same. Now, if you have two sides that are the same, you have what is called an isosceles triangle. That would mean that two sides of the triangle are congruent. They're the same. So a triangle, a picture of that might just be here. You can see those two sides are exactly the same, but the bottom is different. Now, if it's scalene, they're all different. Then the last way that you can label a triangle by its sides is what we call an equal, there's your hint, equilateral triangle. Equal being equal, lateral meaning sides. So if all sides of the triangle are congruent, you have an equilateral triangle. That would be if they're the same or equal. You have equilateral. That's when you're classifying based on the sides of the triangles. So at least if somebody says to you, hey, I have an isosceles triangle, you can tell them, oh, two sides are the same. We also can classify the triangles by their angles. If, for instance, you have a triangle that has a 90-degree angle in the corner, any corner, it doesn't have to be at the bottom, it could be up at the top, as long as there's a right angle in there, we have what is called a right triangle. One angle is 90 degrees. And those are interior angles, not exterior angles. If you have a triangle where all of the angles are less than 90 degrees, and think about that, that means they're all kind of closed. So if they all are less than 90, then you have an acute triangle. It means that all angles are less than 90 degrees. Now, if you have one of the angles that's open, is what I call it, it means it's, oh, we don't need arrows. If you have an angle that is open past 90 degrees, so if this angle right here goes past the corner, say it's 110 degrees, and they make a triangle. These are those triangles that are kind of slanted backwards. This is called an obtuse triangle. An obtuse angle means that it is greater than 90 degrees. So an obtuse triangle means it has one angle greater than 90 degrees. And it can be upside down. It doesn't matter where the angle is. It just needs to be an angle that's bigger than 90 degrees. So now you're going to work on your worksheet that's just titled Triangles. It has some questions about the sum of the interior angles. Then it has you classifying triangles as scalene, isosceles, or equilateral, which is by the sides. And then you're going to classify the triangles as right, acute, or obtuse, which is looking at their angles. Of course, if you have any questions, make sure you ask an instructor or any of the tutors.